all of you for showing up in the rain, in the cold here in Portland to join us. And we're here today to honor the slain journalists who gave us the eyes and ears to bear witness to this horrific genocide. We're here to pay tribute to those heroes who've been killed for trying to tell the world the truth. The past 10 weeks in Gaza have been the deadliest on record for journalists. Nearly 100 reporters and media professionals have been murdered, either by US bombs dropped by Israel or in targeted assassinations by Israel. No other war in history, including the Vietnam War, which spanned 20 years, saw this many journalists killed in the field. This is completely unprecedented. Think about that number for a second. 100 journalists, 100 war crimes. Many, alongside their entire families, have been murdered as punishment. Punishment for the crime of documenting their own reality, for exposing Israel's unending brutality. We've all seen how Israel's targeted journalists over the decades, bombing media towers, press offices in Gaza, killing Reuters reporters, sniping dead Shireen Abu Akleh, and countless journalists with blue vests, clearly marked press, during peaceful protests. Now in Gaza, wearing a press vest puts a target on your back. They're calling Palestinian journalists and telling them, we're going to kill you. And then they do. It's happening in front of the world for all eyes to see, totally out in the open. Israel is not even trying to hide it. They're sending a clear message to the world that they intend to kill every single one of their political dissidents under the cover of this war because they know that they can. Because they have the full backing, militarily, politically, from the United States empire. Who else could get away with this?
No one.
It's hard to wrap your mind around the audacity, isn't it? Especially the contradiction of the US, constantly heralding the First Amendment as the sacred principle of our so-called democracy while greenlighting the systematic murder of journalists for all the world to see. My journalist friends there are underground now. They are worried about Israel tracking their SIM cards for talking to me, killing them for what they do. The journalists who remain on the ground are doing what they do out of risk of enormous risk to their personal safety. And politicians in corporate media like the Oregonian are trying to normalize this genocidal barbarism. But nothing about this is normal.
Right.
Nothing about calculated mass murder through a policy of starvation, carpet bombing, forced displacement of millions in Gaza into a second Nakba is normal. None of this is normal. How did we get here? How did we get to this point where My Lai massacres are happening daily? Where journalists are being hunted and killed one by one? This is the result of complete impunity offered to America's appendage. This is the result of the world's refusal to hold Israel accountable for its crimes. We saw them get away with sniping dead 2 journalists during the Great March of Return. The world let them get away with that. The world let them get away with targeting and killing Shireen Abu Akleh. And now they're letting them get away with the most heinous trifecta of war crimes against children, against hospitals, and the press. And the US corporate media is letting them get away with that too.